Okay, welcome back, everyone. We are back and just in time for our panel on retail reinvention with Adyen's VP of Operations and Point of Sale, Jacqueline Berger. Fun fact, with Jacqueline's 15 plus years of experience across all aspects of retail, she has a very strong command of D2C strategies and systems.
Thanks, Emily. That is a fun fact. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for a chat today about retail reinvention. As we've seen and heard, and many of us have lived firsthand, 2020 certainly was a year of reinvention for retailers. I'm here today with two retail veterans, Todd Trions, SVP and CIO of Brooks Brothers, and Jacob Patt, Principal of JXP & Co. Todd, Jacob, looking forward to discussing how you both navigated 2020 and how you're applying new strategies this year. To all of those in the audience, we would love to hear any questions from you, so please feel free to post them to the chat and we'll address them as we can. There's lots to discuss, so let's dive right in. My first question, and Todd, I'll ask you to take this one first. Tell us how you navigated 2020 and what's the biggest lesson that informed your plan for this year, for 2021?
Wow, Jacqueline, where to start? 2020 was certainly a year of surprises for us in the specialty apparel space. I'll start off that we as soon as we knew that COVID was going to be a big event on a pandemic level, we were forced to really rethink how we were going to sell our product. We lost our first and foremost when the pandemic hit us pretty quickly. We ended up having to go to a 100% work from home environment and had only about 2 days to make that happen. So that was something that hit us first and foremost. And then after that, a couple of weeks later, we found out that because we were selling what was deemed something that was non-essential, we ended up having to shut down all of our brick and mortar stores in the US and Canada and in a lot of markets around the world. So definitely something that I don't think any of us had ever saw coming in terms of having an impact that big across our brick and mortar channel. The year for Brooks went on where things got tougher and we were forced into a situation where we ended up going through a bankruptcy in early summer. And luckily enough, we're bought out of bankruptcy as one of the first wave of those transactions in the August timeframe. And by September, we had reopened up a number of our stores and had a lot of tough decisions to make as we moved forward as a part of a bigger company. We were acquired by the Spark Group. So now we're part of a portfolio of other brands, including Forever 21, Lucky, Nautica, and Aeropostale. And as the year went on and we started to open things back up, we really had to think about what was going to be most important from a customer experience perspective. A lot of our focus was on that, and also in the men's apparel, wear to work space, really rethinking the product and what our consumers needed when they weren't going to work every day, right? Product like I'm wearing right now to look good when you're in a Zoom meeting or working remotely, but also reinventing product. And one of the things that we were really proud to see happen from September until literally last week, we took what was traditionally a 52-week cycle to bring new product to the market and launched a whole new athleisure line for the Brooks Men department. We've been seeing some really great results related to that. Everything from hooded zip-up sweatshirts to some more everyday cozy wear, things that just weren't a part of the brand before. So from a product perspective, that was very exciting for us. From a technology perspective, I think the biggest things that we saw here we're making the right investments in customer experience. Even though we went through a very trying year, one of the single biggest things we did at the latter part of the year was launch a new order management system to help us better provide the right customer experience for those who were looking to shop us both in store and online as we went into the holiday selling period. And amazingly enough, we were able to launch that new site in October, the new order management system in that time period, and allowed us to achieve success with a 30% increase in orders year over year in a channel where with the old system behind that, we definitely would have had a series of technical challenges. So we were happy to get that done.
That's incredible to hear. New product, new technology. all in 1 year. That's like a decade of change in 6 months, right? So Jacob, super interested to hear how you've navigated 2020 and what lessons you've learned along the way.
I think, one of the things is I switched from, working in-house to in consulting at the beginning of the pandemic. And as a result, had a chance to speak with quite a few organizations around the globe. And it was such a diverse view in terms of what they were doing, in terms of, whether they thought that this pandemic was going to end very quickly or those that thought, this is here to stay. It was quite polarizing, the perspectives that I was seeing. And it didn't matter industry or vertical, it was just very inconsistent. And I think what all of us can agree today is, I mean, that ecosystem has been fast forwarded, at least 5 years in most countries. And, as a result of doing this, also the consumer's digital expectation has shifted as well. All of us, when we started this, I think we're very forgiving in the process of, whether it was methods like curbside pickup and things like this. I was working with a client who had, a phenomenal amount of growth, and their infrastructure just couldn't keep up. It wasn't about, where to pick or where to work on. It was a matter of what do we need to fix right now to keep up with the scale. So some organizations went down that path and took an opportunity to redo their entire digital strategy or their tech strategy to help them meet the customer where they were going to, where they were coming in from. Others, I think, they felt a bit of a demise, and at this point, are trying to figure out what to do next. Especially considering, we do, some of us do see the light at the end of this tunnel. But a lot of this, Jacqueline, has been driven by consumer expectations, right? So when you think about this, I'm sure all of us have gone through different consumer experiences, whether it's, in a home hardware store, whether it's a grocery store, whether, it's pet services, whatever it is. It's different kind of payment methods, or very difficult payment methods, or just disjointed consumer experiences, and that's something that's definitely come front and center, and in order to kind of really circumvent that is like, how do you get past all of that and create more of like a frictionless experience for the consumer? So the one client I was working with over the past year decided to do a complete overhaul of their ecosystem to essentially be able to pivot the consumer forward. So just to meet them, whether it's whatever channel they were coming in from, irrespective of whether a store had to close because there was a new lockdown measure, or a market had to close because of whatever the rules were. They were ready to react to that instantaneously, and I think that's kind of where things are really going to go.
Yes, and I want to chase that a little bit. So maybe next question, Jacob, you could take first, and then we'll go over to Todd. But you talked about the customer expectations shifting, and there's now a true digital expectation. So curious, what new approaches for customer experience you think that customers really expect to stay, right? And that we see are going to be adopted for the long term, not just as a stopgap.
Yeah, I think, I mean, one area I would definitely focus on is, so online commerce has been adopted very quickly. That's going to stick. Curbside pickup is going to evolve. And I think there's also going to be some new journeys that are going to be created as a result of this. So when you look at kind of online commerce, right? So we typically, when we think online commerce, we think, oh, it's a website, or it's some other mainstream medium. What's starting to show up more and more is social commerce. So it's really the consumer kind of really entering these different channels or these different purchase journeys from different areas, whether it's social, whether it's web, and then figuring out how do you meet them. Because at the end of the day, they may end up in the store, in a physical store, they may stay online, but really it's about having a business that can pivot and accommodate that. And then I really do think that curbside pickup is going to evolve. I've seen some retailers do curbside pickup very easily, where they go in. I mean, it's a seamless experience. Whether you're online, or if you want to do an order to your house, or you want to do the curbside pickup, it's very seamless in that process. Others, it's a lot more jagged. There's a lot of manual work involved. There's tracking order numbers, trying to figure things. I mean, it's a pain point in a lot of pieces. And my only suggestion to retailers now is, the patience that consumers gave you in the beginning of this is going to diminish, and diminish quickly. So really, it's about kind of evolving that consumer journey and seeing what are the pieces that you need to focus on. And if there's two pieces to focus on, it's really kind of evolving that curbside pickup process, and then also the commerce journey. Like, what are the avenues that your consumers are coming in that you may be missing? And how are you servicing those customers? Are you just using the channels that you're in, or are you also meeting them in the channels that they're asking you to be in? So ultimately, if I were to sum all of it up, it's really servicing the consumer wherever really they want to be serviced, and making sure that those are evolving quicker, because that will set you apart from your competition. And for the consumer, that's about the desire to continue to do business with you versus somebody else that may make it easier for them.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Todd, what's your experience been with new approaches? What do you think is here to stay from a customer behavior perspective?
Yeah, I think Jacob hit on some great points there. I think commerce has definitely changed. From an online perspective, for us, for almost 6 months last year, our online business was 100% of our business. We had no stores, right? So it really makes you think about the game a little bit differently. Where traditionally that may have been 25 to 30%, suddenly it became 100, and even now. Now that we have 170 stores open, we're still over 50% on the online side, because the pandemic's not fully past us and customers are easing themselves back into brick and mortar a bit. I think offering as many different payment types as a customer wants to use to do business with you is very important. Based on that, as we rolled out our new order management system late last fall, we also rolled out Adyen as our payment partner behind that, which has been a big win for us, because it opens up avenues for some what I'll call non-traditional but emerging payment types, especially things like where you can pay over time. Whether it's with Klarna, Affirm, or partners like that. Those are all things that you get out of the box that you may not have gotten in a more traditional payment platform. Jacob hit this one on the head. I think the pickup, the curbside piece of it, I can't tell you how often I did it throughout the pandemic, if it was for food or if it was for things at Walmart, Home Depot, you name it. All of the big guys did it. And I think it really depends on location. I think it's not going to be a fit for absolutely everybody. When you think about the mall environment and trying to do pickup for stores that are in a mall, I think logistically there's going to be some things that have to be figured out there. But overall, I think it's going to become the new normal in terms of how customers want to reach out to retailers and do business. The other piece of it that we spent a lot of time in, during the shutdown of our stores, to make sure that we were ready to provide a very engaging experience for our customers when stores open back up, was investing more deeply in clienteling. Or tools that are available to our in-store associate to be able to proactively message and collaborate with the customer when they may not be at the store, but to help assist sales and kind of be an advocate of the customer and drive transactions back to the digital channel. Of course, when the customer is ready and things are safe to come back in the stores, we have the power of that tool to help us with additional sales or services that we can provide. But the power of using a tool like that to drive the associates that we have in the stores, a realistic conversation with a customer around, this is some things you have in your wardrobe. Here's where we may help you. We know you're not going to the office right now, but here's some things that might work in your home environment. I think that's a really powerful conversation to be able to have from the associate back out to the customer.
Certainly. So I think hearing what you and Jacob both said there, the importance of being able to meet the customer where they want to be met, right? That really comes through. And that means having a robust retail channel, a robust e-commerce channel, right? And all the tools to support it. How do you implement unified commerce in your business, right? What is the one sort of true unified commerce piece of technology that you feel you need to do this successfully? And maybe Todd, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think there's really a couple of components that are going to drive that platform. At the end of the day, having a great web experience, having if you're a multi-channel or omni-channel retailer who has both stores and retail, an order management system with a great payment platform behind it is table stakes now. because the customer assumes that you have a single view of inventory. If they want it and you have it, it shouldn't matter where that product is. You should be able to get it to them as quickly and as efficiently as possible, right? And that's where I think a great order management system plays behind that. A great web experience that's mobile optimized, right? I think this past holiday season was the first holiday season that I personally did all of my shopping on a mobile device, on my phone. I didn't go to a laptop. I didn't go to a tablet. I think retailers get it now that you have to have an amazing experience that's Amazon-like to be able to get a customer through your products, search, find things quickly, and provide a checkout process that's as seamless as possible with as many different payment options as you can think of. The last thing you want to do is worry about somebody having to find a credit card or get a credit card to do checkout. And I think that that's where a great payment platform that offers all of the emerging digital payment types as an option for your customer is going to really drive your conversion rate through the roof. I think those are some of the really big things that I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost sad to say, but I think we're in the era of it's too much to ask the customer to get off their couch, right, and get their credit card. That's not really even an option anymore. So I agree with a lot of what you said from my personal consuming experiences. But Jacob, very interested to hear your take on implementing unified commerce.
I'm going to just piggyback off exactly what Todd had mentioned, because I mean it's such a significant piece of this. Is there's the base pieces that we don't think about, which is your payment gateway, your point of sale system, your order management system, your e-commerce stack. Like if we were to just work with those four platforms, four platforms are going to be so key in how this moves forward. And one of the things is, Jacqueline, I don't know if you know this, but I've been using Adyen for now 8 years in different capacities. And one of the things that definitely sets Adyen apart in this space is really about the ability to have more of a unified glass, right? So whether you're doing social commerce, whether you're doing online commerce, whether you're doing stores, the ability to have all that data in one place. And when you talk about unified commerce, right? The underlying concept of unified commerce is the ability to really provide relevant information to your consumer base and making sure that you have the right tech stack to support this. And I can't emphasize this enough because, a lot of the times the tech stack is either overlooked because either, there's a whole different set of reasons that people may pick one solution over the other. When I look at kind of the solutions stack in that space, I look at, what are the best of breed players that work best together and that are the most flexible, right? And that can pass data very easily between each other without having to build tons of integration and tons of piping to get this right. So, when you think about this new journey that, even Todd mentioned, it's like when the consumer comes into your store, they're expecting things to be seamless and they're expecting it to be easy. But in order to do that, you need to make sure you have some of those core systems, whether it is your payment gateway, it is your, modern point of sale system. These are the things that are going to help drive that enhanced consumer journey. And for those that feel that, we'll kind of get to it when we get to it. If you're not already focused on that and you've not had some time to look at this, I would encourage you to do it now before things do get back to whatever that new normal is. So, unified commerce is going to become, I wouldn't say it's a bigger buzzword, but it's going to be kind of an expected experience of the consumer as we move into this new era.
Cool. What are the biggest issues that you're currently troubleshooting? Pandemic related, unified commerce related? Just interested to hear what is on your plate that you're currently working through.
Yes, I'll jump in, Jacqueline. I think, for us, obviously, we're a 203-year-old brand that, has just survived the bankruptcy, and we're looking to grow our business back. A lot of what we're focused on right now is listening to our customer and understanding what types of apparel are going to be right for life after the pandemic, right? So a lot of focus on new product, a lot of focus on new marketing and new messaging to get our story out there. And then, from a technology perspective, I talked about some of the big things that we're focused on. The biggest thing that we'll be doing this year is replatforming our website to the latest and greatest version of Salesforce Commerce Cloud, which will go a long way to driving the experience that we want from a best-in-class perspective for our customers going forward. Look, I think in a lot of ways, 2020 was a shocker for everybody. I think it's going to go without saying, probably a once in a lifetime event. And, all the things that we learned, I think that the biggest thing is that life's going to come at you faster in this new world. And that if you don't take advantage of some of the things that your customers telling you to take advantage of, and really listen and make the changes, somebody else is going to take that change and get that customer. So you got to stay focused on that.
How about you, Jacob?
It's balancing innovation between practical and impractical. There's a lot of new ideas and ways of interacting with the consumer that have showed up during the pandemic. For example, I don't know if you walked into some stores and, you have staff doing remote in-store sales, using a variety of different mediums to try to connect with the consumer. Some of these are going to go away. Part of it is because, from an experience aspect, it's not great, or it's not very frictionless. The question is, when it does go away, what do you focus on? And then really, how do you ensure that the equity that you built with your customer over this pandemic does not go away? So it's really kind of starting to look at, what are those new expectations? And then figuring and making sure that you've got the right tech or the right platforms to help you deal with that.
Certainly. Well, Todd, Jacob, thanks so much for joining us today. This has been a great conversation on retail reinvention, and I think plenty more to come here, but great to see you both and speak with you.
Thanks for having us, Jacob.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for that discussion. It's definitely been interesting to watch how retail has evolved. It is almost time for our next break, but first, you guessed it, we have another poll. The question is, what do you think will be the biggest needle mover for business in 2021? Technology, employee experiences, or consumer experiences? There's no wrong answers. Be sure to meet me back here in 10 because you won't want to miss our closing keynote with the founder of Shake Shack, Danny Meyer, as he chats with our president of North America, Brian Demir.